2:30 in the morning, that's when my life turned upside down. I'm talking bone-deep sleep, the kind you get after a long day prepping the guest cabin for tomorrow's celebration. Mike's graduation party. Kid's been looking forward to it for months. Then comes this pounding on my door, not knocking, pounding. I stumble out of bed, pull on my robe, and peer through the window. Two identical blondes in matching tracksuits, flashlights blazing right into my eyes like I'm some kind of criminal. Karen and Diane Thompson, the neighborhood twins who make everything their business. "Open up, old man!" Karen's voice cuts through the night air. "We know what you're hiding in there." What am I hiding? My coffee maker and yesterday's newspaper. I open the door, squinting against those flashlights. Have you ever been woken up by someone who acts like they own the world? That's these two. "Your little party tomorrow?" Diane waves a crumpled paper in my face. "Canceled. We booked this cabin for our mother's anniversary celebration." I blink hard, trying to make sense of this. "Ladies, it's my cabin, on my property. What are you talking about?" Karen shoves the paper closer. It's got official-looking letterhead, signatures, even a notary stamp. Rental agreement, it says. Guest cabin, 247 Lakeshore Drive. Tomorrow's date, 50-year wedding anniversary celebration. "Sorry, Grandpa," Diane smirks. "You're squatting on our reservation." The paper looks real, too real. But I built this cabin with my own hands 3 years ago. Every nail, every board. This has got to be some kind of mistake. The only mistake, Karen steps closer, was you thinking you could double book our family event. My heart starts racing. Not fear, anger, pure, hot anger. Mike's been planning this graduation party since February. His friends are driving up from 3 states away. I promised his dad before he passed that I'd give the kids something special. Listen carefully. I keep my voice steady. Tomorrow night, my property hosts a graduation party for a young man who deserves it. End of discussion. The twins exchange one of those looks. You know the ones. When people communicate without words, and it's never good news. "We'll see about that," Karen says, clicking off her flashlight. They walk back to their matching SUVs, leaving me standing in my doorway at 2:30 a.m., holding a rental agreement that shouldn't exist. That's when I should have called someone, the sheriff maybe, a lawyer. Instead, I went back inside, made coffee, and spent the next 4 hours trying to figure out how someone could forge documents that looked this convincing. By dawn, I had my answer. They couldn't, not alone. Seed, paper, quality. The sun was just coming up when I heard the first grinding sound from the direction of my well house. Seed, water, sabotage. But that morning, standing in my kitchen with that impossible document, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I underestimated the Thompson twins. The grinding sound gets louder. I throw on some clothes and head outside, coffee mug still in hand. My well pump sounds like it's chewing rocks. Water pressure gauge reads 0. I follow the pipes to the main shutoff valve. Someone's cranked it closed and filled the handle with what looks like industrial glue. Super glue, dried solid. There's a note duct taped to the pipe. Last warning, clear out by tonight or things get worse. Management. Management? I am the management. This is my land, my cabin, my water system. I grab my phone and call Pete's Plumbing. "Hey Pete, Tom Harris. Got an emergency at the lake house." "Sorry Tom, booked solid until Thursday. Jimmy's kid broke his leg, so we're down a man." Thursday. Mike's party is tonight. 20 kids expecting burgers, music, and a celebration this boy's earned. I promised his dying father I'd make it special. I drive to the Thompson house. Big colonial with matching garden gnomes. No cars in the driveway. Ring the doorbell, knock on windows. Nothing. Mrs. Patterson from next door waters her roses in her bathrobe. "Oh, they left early this morning. Said something about visiting their mother upstate. Big anniversary surprise." Anniversary surprise, right. Back at my place, I try everything. Heating the valve with a blowtorch. Glue's too deep. Calling every plumber in 3 counties. Nobody's available. Hardware store won't be open for 2 hours. And even then, replacing that valve means shutting down water to the whole property. My phone buzzes. Text from Mike. "Mr. Harris, packed and ready. Can't wait to see the cabin set up. This is going to be epic." Epic. Kid has no idea his party's about to be ruined by two middle-aged women with too much time and not enough sense. That's when I noticed something else. The rental agreement they showed me, I grab it from the kitchen counter and really study it this time. Payoff, paper, quality. The letterhead says, Lakeshore Property Management, LLC. Never heard of them. The notary stamp looks perfect, but the signature, I know that handwriting. Ron Blackman, local real estate agent who's been pestering me for 6 months to sell this place. Keeps saying lakefront property is undervalued, and he's got motivated buyers. You ever have that moment when puzzle pieces start clicking together? This isn't about some anniversary party. I grab my binoculars and scan the lake. Sure enough, there's Ron's white sedan parked at the boat ramp, and he's walking the shoreline with a measuring tape. My phone rings, unknown number. Mr. Harris, this is Diane Thompson. We're terribly sorry about the confusion last night. Confusion, like finding superglue in your water system, is some kind of misunderstanding. We're prepared to offer a compromise, she continues. $5,000 cash for you to find somewhere else for your party tonight, just this once. $5,000 for one night. Nobody offers that kind of money unless they're desperate, or unless they're planning something bigger than a family anniversary. Diane, let me ask you something. How long have you and your sister been working with Ron Blackman? Long pause, too long. I don't know what you mean. Sure you don't. I hang up. The water situation's getting worse. Pressure tank's starting to make that whining sound that means the pump's running dry. Without water, there's no party, no celebration. And Mike gets another disappointment in a life that's had too many already. But here's what the Thompson twins didn't count on. I didn't spend 20 years in construction without learning how people try to squeeze you out of jobs. This isn't about some anniversary. This is about my land, and they just made their first real mistake. Seed, F-phone, recording. 4 o'clock rolls around, and I'm expecting maybe 6 or 7 cars for Mike's party. Instead, 3 white vans come barreling up my driveway like some kind of invasion force. I step onto the porch, and that's when I see her. Little old lady in a wheelchair, oxygen tank strapped to the side, tissues clutched in her wrinkled hands. Behind her, at least 20 people carrying flowers, balloons, and what looks like a 3-tier anniversary cake. Karen Thompson jumps out of the lead van like she's running a military operation. There he is, the man who stole our family's special day. The crowd turns to stare at me. I'm standing there in my work clothes, holding a wrench I was using to try and fix the water valve, probably looking like exactly the kind of guy who'd ruin someone's golden anniversary. Ma'am, I call out to the old lady. I think there's been some confusion. That's when she starts crying. Real tears, not the fake kind. 50 years ago, Harold and I spent our honeymoon in this very cabin. He proposed to me right there by that oak tree. She points to my tree, the one I planted when I bought this land. The crowd murmurs. Someone says, "How could you?" Another voice, "Shame on you." Mike pulls up in his dad's old truck just as Karen starts her performance. "This man," she announces loud enough for the whole county to hear, "has illegally occupied our family's sacred space." Mike gets out, looks at the crowd, looks at me. Kid's face falls like someone just told him Christmas was canceled. "Mr. Harris, what's going on?" Before I can answer, Diane produces another set of documents. Property deed, she claims. Says the cabin was left to their family in 1995 by Grandpa Thompson, who built it with his own hands for his beloved wife Margaret. The old lady nods tearfully. "That's me, I'm Margaret." Here's the thing about lies. The bigger they are, the more people want to believe them, especially when there's an old lady in a wheelchair involved. "I have all my documentation inside," I tell the crowd. "Purchased this land in 2018, built the cabin myself." "Oh sure," Karen waves her hand. "Anyone can forge modern paperwork, but look at this." She holds up what appears to be a yellowed, handwritten will. Authentic 1995 family document. The crowd's buying it. Mike's friends are starting to arrive, and they're getting out of their cars into what looks like a hostile takeover. That's when I spot him, standing by the vans, smoking a cigarette and talking quietly on his phone. Guy in his 60s, trying to blend into the family group, but I recognize that voice. Ron Blackman. I edge closer, and that's when I hear him say, "Yeah, the plan's working perfectly. Another hour and they'll clear out on their own." payoff, phone, recording. I pull out my phone, open the voice recorder, and hold it low. Karen, make sure the old lady keeps crying, Ron continues. Sympathy angle's working great. By tonight, we'll have full access to survey the property lines. Survey the property lines. There it is. But before I can record more, a sheriff's cruiser pulls up. Deputy Martinez gets out, looking like this is the last thing he wanted to deal with on a Saturday. Someone called about a property dispute? Karen waves those fake documents. Officer, this man has taken over our family cabin illegally. We have a court-ordered rental agreement and proof of ownership going back 30 years. Martinez studies the papers. They look official, I'll give them that. Professional forgery work. Mr. Harris, these documents seem legitimate. You got anything to counter this? I've got the real deed, the real permits, photos of me building the place board by board. But here's what I'm learning about crowds and emotions. Facts don't matter when there's a crying grandmother involved. Sir, I'll need you to vacate the premises while this gets sorted through proper channels. Mike walks over, graduation cap in his hands. Mr. Harris, maybe we should just have the party somewhere else. That kid, trying to make it easier on everyone else, even when his celebration's getting destroyed. No, I say, loud enough for everyone to hear. We're not going anywhere. The crowd gets ugly fast. Someone yells, "Respect your elders." Another voice, "How can you be so heartless?" But I'm watching Ron Blackman, and he's watching me, and we both know this isn't over. Margaret, the grandmother, looks up at me with those watery eyes and says, "Please, young man, it's all I have left of Harold." That's the moment I realize I'm not just fighting for my property anymore. I'm fighting for the truth itself. And right now, I'm losing. Deputy Martinez puts his hand on his belt, not threatening, but official. Mr. Harris, I'm going to need you to step back and let these folks have their celebration. You can file a counterclaim Monday morning. Monday morning, Mike's graduation party happens tonight, or it doesn't happen at all. I look at this kid who's been through enough disappointment for 3 lifetimes. His dad dying of cancer last year, his mom working double shifts just to keep the lights on. This party was supposed to be something good finally happening. Pack it up, Tom, Martinez says quietly. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The crowd starts spreading out across my property like they own it, setting up folding chairs, stringing lights between trees I planted. Margaret gets wheeled over to the cabin porch, touching the railings like they hold 50 years of memories. Mike's friends stand around their cars, not sure whether to unpack their stuff or leave. One of them, a girl named Sarah, walks over. Mike, what do you want us to do? He looks at me, then at the crowd, then at his graduation cap. I guess we should go. That's when I see Ron Blackman again. He's moved away from the main group, talking on his phone by the tree line. I drift closer, phone recording in my pocket. Yeah, it's working perfectly. Give me 2 hours to get the measurements, and we'll have everything we need for the development proposal. Development proposal. Now we're getting somewhere. The old lady's a natural actress. Rita found her at the community theater. $500 for one evening's work. Rita, actress, community theater. I look back at Margaret in her wheelchair, dabbing at her eyes with tissues. She's good, I'll give her that. But now I notice things. Her shoes are too clean for someone who's been grieving at a cemetery all day. Her oxygen tank doesn't have any tubes connecting to her nose. Have you ever watched someone lie and suddenly seen all the holes in their story? It's like a magic trick in reverse. The fake family members are spreading out too wide, measuring distances, taking photos of the cabin from different angles. Nobody acts like this at a real anniversary celebration. I walk back to where Mike's loading his graduation gifts into the truck. Mike, you trust me? He looks up. Kid's got his father's eyes, steady, honest. Course I do, Mr. Harris, but maybe this isn't the hill to die on. What if I told you this whole thing is fake, that these people are actors, and there's no anniversary, and they're trying to steal my land? Mike glances over at Margaret, who's now being comforted by 2 daughters while someone takes pictures. That old lady seems pretty real to me. She's an actress, and a good one. You got proof? That's the problem. I've got suspicions, a recorded phone call that might not hold up, and my word against 20 people with official-looking documents. But then I notice something else. The grandson, who's been hovering around Margaret, He's wearing brand new hiking boots, still got the price tag tucked under the tongue. And one of the daughters keeps checking her phone like she's got somewhere else to be. Real family doesn't act like they're on the clock. Mike, remember when your dad taught you to read people? What did he always say? Mike half smiles. Actions tell the truth when words don't. Exactly. Watch them. Really watch. We observe the crowd for 10 minutes. The pattern becomes clear. They're not celebrating. They're working. Taking measurements, documenting angles, testing sight lines from the road to the water. Mr. Harris, Mike says slowly, I think you might be right. That's when Deputy Martinez walks over. Tom, I need you and your guests to clear out. These folks have legal documents. Martinez, what if those documents are forged? That's for the courts to decide. Right now, I've got to go with what's in front of me. He's not wrong. He's got official-looking papers versus my word. In his position, I'd probably make the same call. I start packing my truck, but my mind's racing. Ron Blackman's still measuring property lines. The family is still taking photos of every angle. And Margaret, the actress, is checking her watch like she's got a curtain call somewhere. As I load the last of Mike's party supplies, I make a decision that will either solve this whole mess or get me arrested. Mike, I say quietly, you ever want to see how a real investigation works? His eyes light up for the first time all day. What do you have in mind? We're going to follow them when they leave, and we're going to find out who Margaret really is. 9 p.m. The fake anniversary celebration wraps up faster than any real family gathering I've ever seen. Mike and I are parked behind the gas station across from the lake, watching through binoculars as the family packs up their props. No lingering goodbyes, no exchanging phone numbers, no promises to get together soon. Margaret gets wheeled to the first van, and here's where it gets interesting. The moment she thinks nobody's watching, she stands up out of that wheelchair and stretches her back like she's been sitting in an office chair all day. Holy crap, Mike whispers. She's not even disabled. The oxygen tank gets tossed in the back like an empty soda can. The tissues, the tears, the whole grieving widow act. Pure theater. We follow the vans at a distance. They split up at the main intersection. 2 vans head toward the highway, but Margaret's van turns toward downtown. I know where they're going before we even get there. Riverside Community Theater. The van parks behind the building, and Margaret walks inside carrying a small duffel bag. Wait here, I tell Mike. Keep the engine running. The theater's back door is propped open for the evening air. I slip inside and follow the sound of voices down a narrow hallway. Can't believe how easy that was, a woman's voice. Margaret, but without the shaky old lady tremor. $500 for 4 hours of work? I should have asked for more. You earned it, Rita. That's Ron Blackman's voice. Performance of a lifetime. Rita, so that's her real name. I peek around the corner into what looks like a small rehearsal room. Margaret, Rita, is pulling off a gray wig, revealing brown hair underneath. The age makeup comes off with wet wipes, showing a woman who's maybe 45, not 75. Those twins know how to put on a show, Rita continues. Had that property owner completely fooled, and the cop totally bought it. Ron counts out cash. Karen and Diane will handle phase 2 tomorrow. By Tuesday, we'll have full surveying access. And by Friday, the development permits will be filed. Development permits. There it is. They're not just trying to steal one night. They want to turn my lakefront property into condos or strip malls. What about the old guy? Rita asks. He seems suspicious toward the end. Tom Harris is small time. No lawyers, no political connections. Once we file the development papers, his little property dispute becomes a zoning issue. County Planning Board already has 3 members in our pocket. My blood goes cold. This isn't just fraud, it's corruption that goes all the way up to county government. I back away from the door and head for the exit, but my foot catches a prop sword leaning against the wall. It clatters to the floor loud enough to wake the dead. What was that? Rita's voice, sharp now. Footsteps coming down the hallway, fast. I run for the back door, but Ron Blackman rounds the corner just as I reach it. He's holding his phone like he's about to call someone. Well, Tom Harris. Enjoying the show? Just out for an evening walk, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. In a theater, at 9 p.m. through the back entrance. Rita appears behind him, still wiping makeup off her face. Without the costume and acting, She looks like what she is, a woman who just got paid to lie to a crowd of people. Ron, she says nervously, this wasn't part of the deal. You said nobody would find out. Relax, Mr. Harris was just leaving, weren't you, Tom? The threat in his voice is clear, but here's what Ron doesn't know. I've been recording everything on my phone since I walked into this building. Actually, I say, pulling out the phone and hitting stop on the voice recorder, I think I'll stick around. Great acoustics in here. Really picks up conversations. Ron's face goes white. Rita looks like she's about to be sick. You recorded us? Every word. The fake family, the actress payments, the development scheme, even the part about bribing county officials. Ron takes a step closer. You can't prove anything with an illegal recording. Maybe not in court, but I bet the local newspaper would find it interesting. And the state attorney general's office. They love corruption cases. That's when Rita breaks. Ron, you said this was just about property lines. You never mentioned bribes or development schemes. Shut up, Rita. But she's past caring now. I thought I was helping settle a neighbor dispute. You told me it was like community theater for a good cause? Have you ever watched someone's whole plan fall apart in real time? Ron Blackman looks like a man who just realized his house is on fire. Tom, he says, trying a different approach. Let's be reasonable. There's money in this for everyone. Good money. Here's what's going to be reasonable, I tell him. You're going to call the Thompson twins right now and tell them the game's over. And if I don't, I hold up my phone. Then tomorrow morning, this recording goes to every news station, newspaper, and law enforcement agency in the state. That's when we hear sirens in the distance, getting closer. Mike must have called for backup. The sirens aren't coming for us. They're racing past the theater toward downtown, but Ron doesn't know that. His face goes from white to green. You called the cops? Didn't have to, I say, keeping my voice steady. But that recording I just made, that's evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud, bribery of public officials, and theft by deception. Rita sinks into a folding chair. Oh God, I'm going to jail. Rita, listen to me. I turn to face her directly. You were hired to do a job. You didn't know it was part of a bigger scam. Help me fix this and I'll make sure the authorities know you cooperated. She looks at Ron, then back at me. What do you want me to do? Call the Thompson twins. Tell them you're backing out. The anniversary story was fake and they need to return my property immediately. Ron steps between us. Rita, don't listen to him. We stick to the original plan. The original plan just got recorded and is about to become evidence, I remind him. Rita, you've got about 30 seconds to decide which side of this you want to be on when the lawyers get involved. She pulls out her phone with shaking hands. Karen, it's Rita. No, listen. This whole thing is over. The anniversary story, the wheelchair, all of it. Because the property owner knows everything. I can hear Karen screaming through the phone from 6 feet away. Karen, I'm not going to jail for your real estate scheme. No, I don't care about the money. Yes, I'm backing out right now. She hangs up and looks at Ron. I'm done. I never signed up for this level of fraud. Ron pulls out his own phone. Fine, everyone's overreacting. I'll call this off. Put it on speaker, I tell him. He dials Karen's number. She answers on the first ring. Ron, what the hell is going on? Rita just bailed on us. Karen, we need to shut this down. Harris knows about the development plan. How could he know? We were careful. He recorded Rita and me talking. Everything. The actress payments, the county officials, all of it. Long pause, then, how much does he want? Ron looks at me. I shake my head. He doesn't want money, Karen. He wants his property back, and he wants us to stop the development scheme. That's not happening. We've got too much invested. Tell him we'll fight this in court. With what? Forged documents and a confession that's already been recorded? Another pause. Then we go to Plan B. There is no Plan B, Karen. This is over. Wrong. Plan B is making sure Tom Harris understands the consequences of interfering with our business. The line goes dead. Rita looks terrified. What did she mean by consequences? Ron's gone pale again. Karen gets intense when things don't go her way. What kind of intense? Last year, a county inspector tried to shut down one of our projects. Someone broke into his house, trashed his office, slashed his tires. Karen did that? Karen and Diane. They don't like losing. I'm starting to understand that this isn't just about money or development rights. The Thompson twins have built their whole identity around controlling situations, and I just took that control away from them. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. You made a big mistake tonight, Harris. Some things are more important than your little cabin. Then another text. Check your property. I run outside, Rita and Ron following behind me. Mike's got the truck running, engine racing. Mr. Harris, something's wrong at the lake. I can see smoke. We pile into the truck and race back toward my property. Even from 2 miles away, I can see the orange glow against the night sky. By the time we reach the lake, the guest cabin is fully engulfed in flames. Fire department's already there, but it's too late. Everything I built with my own hands is turning to ash and smoke. Chief Martinez walks over as I get out of the truck. Tom, I'm sorry. Looks like it started from an electrical issue in the main panel. These old cabins, you know. Chief, that cabin was built 3 years ago. Brand new electrical, fully up to code. He frowns. You sure? 'Cause this looks like a classic overload situation. I stare at the flames consuming 3 years of work, every board I cut, every nail I drove. But more than that, this was Mike's graduation celebration. Mike's one perfect night. This wasn't electrical, I say quietly. What makes you so sure? I pull out my phone and show him the text messages. Because someone just declared war. Behind me, Rita gasps. Ron, you didn't tell me they were capable of this. I didn't know, he says, but his voice sounds hollow. Mike puts his hand on my shoulder. Mr. Harris, I'm so sorry. That's when I make the decision that changes everything. This isn't about property disputes or development schemes anymore. This is about people who think they can destroy other people's lives without consequences. Mike, I say, watching my cabin burn, how would you like to help me teach the Thompson twins about consequences? Sunday morning. The cabin's nothing but ash and twisted metal, but my mind's crystal clear. Rita's sitting in my kitchen, hands wrapped around a coffee mug like it's an anchor. I keep thinking about what Karen said. Plan B. They planned this from the beginning, didn't they? The arson was always an option, Ron admits. He's been talking non-stop since last night, trying to minimize his role. Karen said if we couldn't get you to sell voluntarily, we'd have to create leverage. Mike looks up from his laptop. Mr. Harris, I found something. Karen Thompson filed insurance claims on 3 different properties in the last 5 years. All mysterious fires, all ruled electrical accidents. She's done this before. Gets better, each property was later sold to Black Man Development at below market prices. I look at Ron. Your company. It's not my company anymore. Karen and Diane bought me out last year, but they kept the name for credibility. So you're working for them now. Was working for them. After last night, I'm done. That's when my phone rings. Karen Thompson. Hey, Harris, I hope you learned something from last night's electrical accident. I put her on speaker so everyone can hear. Karen, burning down someone's property is arson, not an electrical accident. Prove it. Fire chief's report will show faulty wiring. These things happen with amateur construction. I've got witnesses who heard you threaten me. You've got a washed-up actress and a disgraced real estate agent. Good luck with that in court. She's right, and she knows it. Rita's credibility is shot. Ron's trying to save his own skin, and the physical evidence went up in smoke. Here's what's going to happen, Karen continues. You're going to take the insurance money and walk away. We'll buy the land for a fair price, and everyone wins. And if I don't? Then you'll have more electrical accidents. Maybe your main house next time. Mike's eyes go wide. Rita drops her coffee mug. But I'm not scared anymore. I'm angry, and angry men who've got nothing left to lose can be very creative. Karen, let me ask you something. How's your mother doing? Long pause. What? Your mother, Margaret, the one celebrating her 50th anniversary yesterday. I don't know what you mean. Sure you don't. Rita, why don't you tell Karen how your performance went last night? Rita leans toward the phone. Karen, he knows everything. About the theater, the fake family, the development scheme. I recorded our conversation too. You did what? I recorded you admitting to arson, bribery, and insurance fraud. It's all on my phone. Karen's voice gets deadly quiet. Rita, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. That's when I spring the trap I've been setting up all morning. Actually, Karen, you're the one who made the mistake. You see, this call is being recorded too, and it's not just Rita's phone. Mike here is pretty good with technology. Mike holds up his laptop, red recording light blinking. But here's the really interesting part, I continue. Remember how you mentioned 3 county planning board members in your pocket last night? Turns out one of them has been wearing a wire for the FBI for the past 6 months. Silence on the phone. Complete silence. That's right, Karen. This whole development scheme of yours, it's part of a federal corruption investigation. And congratulations, you just confessed to arson on a recorded federal wiretap. You're bluffing. Am I? Mike, play her that audio file. Mike clicks a button. Karen's voice from last night fills the room. County Planning Board already has 3 members in our pocket. Then a new voice cuts in. Official, professional. Ms. Thompson, this is Special Agent Sarah Chen, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Please remain on the line. Karen starts screaming. This is entrapment! This is illegal! Ms. Thompson, you have the right to remain silent. I hang up and look at Mike. Nice touch with the FBI voice recording. He grins. Theater class finally paid off. Though I'm pretty sure we just committed about 17 different crimes ourselves. Probably, but you know what? Sometimes you have to fight dirty people with dirty tactics. Rita's staring at us like we've lost our minds. There's no real FBI investigation, is there? Not yet, but there will be by tomorrow morning. Amazing how much evidence piles up once people start looking. Ron stands up. Tom, I need to get out of town. Like, right now. No, you don't. You're going to march into the sheriff's office and tell them everything you know about Karen's operation. All of it. The bribes, the arson, the insurance fraud. And if I don't? I hold up my phone. Then you become the primary suspect in burning down my cabin. He looks at Rita, then at Mike, then back at me. You know what? Fine. I'm tired of being scared of those 2 psychopaths. That's when we hear cars in the driveway. Lots of cars. Karen and Diane Thompson have arrived with what looks like half the neighborhood behind them. And they don't look like they're here to negotiate. Through my window, I count 8 cars. The Thompson twins brought an army. Karen's got a bullhorn. Tom Harris, come out here and face the music. I step onto my porch. The crowd spreads across my front yard. Neighbors, local business owners, even some faces I don't recognize. Karen and Diane stand in front like generals leading a charge. Folks, Karen announces through the bullhorn, this man has been spreading lies about our family, harassing local business owners, and threatening honest citizens. The crowd murmurs agreement. Some of these people I've known for years, and they're looking at me like I kicked their dogs. He burned down his own cabin for insurance money, Diane shouts, then tried to blame us. That gets them riled up. Someone yells, insurance fraud, another voice. Call the sheriff. Here's what I've learned about Karen Thompson. She's not just a con artist. She's a master manipulator who knows exactly which buttons to push. Right now, she's painting me as the villain in a story where she's the victim. But I've got something she doesn't know about. Karen, I call out loud enough for everyone to hear. Tell them about Margaret. She freezes for just a second. I don't know what you mean. Your mother, the anniversary celebration, 50 years of marriage to Harold. That's none of your business. Rita, I call back into the house. Come on out here. Rita appears in the doorway, no longer in costume, no gray wig, no age makeup, just a 45-year-old woman who looks exactly like what she is. The crowd goes quiet. The folks meet Margaret Thompson, the grieving widow from yesterday's anniversary celebration. Rita waves awkwardly. Hi everyone, I'm actually Rita Collins from the community theater. The silence stretches out like a held breath. Yesterday, I was paid $500 to pretend to be these women's mother. There was no anniversary, no family celebration, no Harold. Someone in the crowd says, "What the hell?" Karen tries to recover. This woman is obviously mentally disturbed. We've never seen her before. That's when Mike steps out with his laptop. Speaker's already connected. Want to hear the recording where you admit to paying her? Karen's voice fills the air. The old lady's a natural actress. Rita found her at the community theater. $500 for one evening's work. Then Ron's voice. Rita earned it. Performance of a lifetime. The crowd turns to stare at Karen and Diane. The shift is almost physical, like watching a pack of dogs decide which way to run. But Karen's not finished. That recording is fake. Anyone can manipulate audio these days. How about this one? Mike hits another button. Karen's voice again, crystal clear. Then we go to Plan B. Plan B is making sure Tom Harris understands the consequences of interfering with our business. Then last night's phone call. You're going to take the insurance money and walk away. Then you'll have more electrical accidents. Maybe your main house next time. Dead silence. Even the birds seem to have stopped singing. Old Frank Peterson, who's lived here longer than anyone, steps forward from the crowd. Karen, did you burn down Tom's cabin? That's ridiculous. It was an electrical fire. But we just heard you threaten to burn down his house. Karen looks around desperately. The crowd that came to support her is now staring at her like she's something they scraped off their shoes. This is all taken out of context. That's when Sheriff Martinez pulls up with 2 deputies. He's been listening to everything from his cruiser radio. Mike live-streamed the whole confrontation to the sheriff's office. Karen Thompson, Diane Thompson, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit arson, insurance fraud, and making terroristic threats. As the deputies put handcuffs on the twins, Karen makes one last desperate play. Tom Harris is a liar. He's trying to steal our land development project. We had permits. We had investors. Had being the key word, Martinez tells her. County Planning Board just voted to revoke all your permits pending a criminal investigation. The crowd starts to disperse. Some neighbors come over to apologize. Others just leave quietly. Frank Peterson shakes my hand. Tom, I'm sorry we didn't trust you from the start. Can't blame you, Frank. They put on a good show. After everyone's gone, I'm left standing in front of my burned cabin with Mike, Rita, and Ron. So what now? Mike asks. Now we rebuild, better than before. Rita looks at the ashes. I'm sorry about your cabin, Tom. I really thought I was helping settle a neighbor dispute. You helped in the end. That counts for something. Ron kicks at a piece of charred wood. Karen's right about one thing. This is going to destroy the development project. A lot of people invested good money. Then maybe they should have asked more questions about who they were investing with. Mike's phone buzzes. He grins. Mr. Harris, you're not going to believe this. Local news wants to interview you about the Thompson twins' arrest. Tell them thanks, but no, this isn't about fame. What is it about then? I look at the remains of the cabin, then at the lake where the sun's starting to set. It's about standing up when someone tries to push you down. It's about not letting the bullies win. Mike nods slowly. My dad would have liked that answer. Your dad would have been proud of you, kid. Real proud. 3 weeks later, we're having Mike's belated graduation party on the same spot where the cabin burned down. Same friends, same celebration, but this time, nobody's trying to steal it from us. The Thompson twins pleaded guilty to avoid federal charges. Karen got 3 years, Diane got 2. Ron testified against them and got probation plus community service. Rita's back to regular community theater, but she donated her $500 to Mike's college fund. Guilt money, she called it. As for me, I'm rebuilding the cabin exactly where it was before. Same footprint, same view of the lake. But this time, I'm adding something new. A plaque by the front door that reads, "Some things don't burn." Because some things don't. Truth doesn't burn, justice doesn't burn, and the stubborn refusal to let bad people win, that definitely doesn't burn. Have you ever stood up to someone who thought they could push you around? It's scary at first. But here's what I learned. Bullies only win when good people stay quiet. Don't stay quiet. If you've got a story like this one, drop a comment below. And if this reminded you why it's important to fight back against the Karen Thompsons of the world, hit that like button. Sometimes the best revenge against people who try to tear you down is simply refusing to stay down. Thanks for sticking with me through this whole mess. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a cabin to rebuild.